Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Experience live with Russ and Scott.
Welcome to The Experience live with Russ and Scott.
Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Special thank you to our sponsors of The Experience Live with Russ and Scott, the Gillette Home team of Keller Williams. For more information, go to teamgillette.com. And Christine Smith from the Aging Better Network. For more information, go to agingbetternetwork.com. Ta-da! I was just like getting into that there,
I know.
moving
I'm
and
just
grooving.
dancing over here. Hey, Russ, what's going on in your world?
Well, Scott, I am having a wonderful, wonderful morning. This is what a great way to start the day every Wednesday than to be with my good friend, D. Scott Smith. I'm telling you, it energizes me to have a real strong start to my morning. I'm an early riser, so I love it. I love it. How are you doing?
Oh, it's great. I love doing the Instagram live with Shri and getting those video tips. It's always just fun just to do that.
She's such an amazing person, makes us look good, Scott. So, and for those that don't know that, 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every Wednesday before this show, we have The Experience Backstage live with Russ, Scott, and Shri, our good friend from Houston, Texas. And she gives amazing video tips, does her best to make Scott and I look good. And Scott and I are grabbing coffee and just stumbling our way to get ready for this show.
Yeah. It truly is backstage. We wanted to take advantage of live streaming video. We wanted to work with the best, so Shri is there. And we wanted to do a different platform, so Instagram. And we thought about doing it as an after party, but it's really kind of more fun to do what are you doing to get ready for the show? So you do get to see the backstage part of the experience.
Well, and I think that it's interesting. It's a little different twist because so many people do after party and things after the show. And so we're one of the few that does a pre-show show. So it's kind of fun. And it is definitely fun doing it on a different platform on Instagram only. Of course, everybody, you're here on The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. We're here every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Not just on one of them. A lot of times people say, oh, yeah, here on LinkedIn Live. Well, no, we're on LinkedIn Live and Facebook and YouTube. So you can view us on any of those locations. And just so you know, in case you miss it, it sits on those platforms to infinity and beyond. And you can watch it afterwards. Infinity and beyond. And then also, you can listen to it in your car on your favorite podcast platform. Shortly after that, it converts and you can listen to it on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, whatever you love. Yep. We're on there. So we'd love to have you listen in as well. And Scott, I'm just excited about our guest today.
Yeah, we've got we're covering the planet because, as we say here on The Experience, we're a talk show with the most remarkable people on the planet. And sometimes they aren't in Independence, Oregon or Salem, Oregon.
Sometimes not. In fact, this amazing couple, super amazing friends of mine are down under, and they've got just such a story. I want them to give a little bit of it, how they connected with people every day for an entire year and beyond. I mean, it's just amazing. And we're going to kind of see where they're at now. They've been on Marketing with Russ a couple times, And so we're so glad to have them here today. Just want to remind everybody, again, this is Mark. This is the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. And I want all of you to know that we would love for you to share this out. Please share this out with your friends, because right now you can tag your friends, share it with your friends, hit that button, and off it goes. And also, please subscribe on our YouTube page. We would love for you to become part of that. All you do is go to the experience.video. The experience.video will take you directly to our YouTube page. You can click on that, subscribe, and you know what? No more binging Netflix. Now you can binge the Experience Live with Russ and Scott over the weekend.
Absolutely. You know, we don't charge, and you can save money. You don't need Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, whatever pluses are out there. Just join the experience.
Well, and we do have the most remarkable friends that bless us with coming on, and
let's get going with it.
So I agree.
Let's show people what it means to have the remarkable people
here we go. Experience. So, Stephen and Donna, are you ready? Here you come. Woohoo!
We can't hear you though, Russ. Unfortunately.
Hey. So good to see both of you. So Stephen's going to sing the theme song today, and Donna's going to dance. So that was how we had it set up for the opening. I made you speechless. I'm just so thankful to have you both on.
I don't know what's happening here, Russ, but we can't hear.
Oh, you can't hear. Well, that's all
right.
All
right. Well,
we'll get this all figured out. We can hear you. Can you hear us now? That's all right.
Yeah. Sorry, Russ, when we go into audio and play the test, I can hear, but I can't hear.
Yeah. Well, check here, because we hear you. We can hear you.
Sorry. Click the gear at the bottom of the screen. Yeah.
There we go. We'll get it all figured out here. Scott, they're figuring that out. You guys let us know when you hear us, when you can hear us. While they're working that out, Scott, I am
live recording. That's what we love. We're live broadcast. That's what we love about it. So there's a little, we'll just I put some notes in the private chat, and we'll just keep rolling here until we can hear, and Stephen and Donna can hear. And so
there you go.
You were talking about they have connected with somebody every day for a year.
Yes. Yeah. They would. Well, I mean, that's how our journey started off together. So I'm going to send them a little note here while we're talking. Your audio output. Okay. I can't actually do this and talk at the same time, but we met.
I'll type in. You talk.
You know what, the way we met, Scott, and everybody, it was amazing, because they actually were reaching out to people, connecting with them, and through some mutual connection, they reached out to me to connect with them, and they were connected with people all over the world, at least one new person a day. They give a little more detail on that, but it was amazing the number of, sometimes they did several a day, and it was amazing the number of people that they connected with. And I'm going to try to bring them in one more time here and see if they can hear us. Can you guys hear us now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
We
are. Right. Well, you guys sound good. I'm glad you can hear us. Yes. And I have to ask, you've got a ton of books on the shelf.
Yes, we do.
Are those for decoration?
No, that's a small selection of what we've read. So, we heard ages ago, when you walk into someone's house, you can determine by how many books they read or how big their television is.
There you go. That's true. Hey, listen, before I let you guys really introduce yourselves, I said you couldn't hear me at the very beginning here. I said, so we had prearranged. Stephen was going to sing the theme song for the opening, and Donna was going to dance while he was singing. So it's over to you guys. Go ahead and take it away.
That's right. We were dancing and singing while we were in the back room. You missed it all.
Well, listen, you both are so amazing. I can't tell you how much I appreciate both of you, and you've been such great friends, and we've been able to stay in touch, and I'm looking forward to the day when I can come over there and meet you both in person. I'm looking forward to that. But until then, let's start with just give everybody a little snapshot. Who is Stephen and Donna, And what have you been up to over this past year?
Where would you like me to start? I'll start with our story. Okay, I'll try to keep this brief. Our story is that Stephen and Donna went to school together, high school, in the 70s and 80s, but they didn't speak to each other at all because they had very different personalities. Apparently I was scary, but no, I think that's just an excuse. Anyway, we sort of, went off and did different things. Stephen went to university. We both married other people. And then those marriages didn't quite work out. And in short, I got a little surprise message on Facebook back in 2012. And lo and behold, it's the first time he ever spoke to me. And so we just sort of started having a bit of a conversation, caught up with what's been happening in our lives for the last 30 or so years. And then we ended up meeting, and then we ended up marrying in 2015. So we both have 4 children from our first marriages. So they're all living currently in the same state as us, which hasn't always been the case, but it's nice. And that's probably about the story of us. I'll let Stephen take over now.
Well, let me jump in before you go on, and let me ask you, give everybody, Stephen, if you want to say something else first, that's fine, but give everybody a little idea of why you started back during COVID or right before COVID or whenever it was, the idea of connecting with somebody new every day and that whole process and the way we got connected through that. Yep. And then where you've gone from there. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, cool. Like, my background is in engineering, so I refer to myself now as a recovered socially awkward engineer. The nature of being an engineer, and our life changed back in 2015. Just briefly, I don't know how much even I shared this with you, Russ, because the effect of this was we went on a journey of meeting people. But in 2015, when Donna and I got married, we wanted to do things differently. We felt like we had a second chance, but how do you do things differently? Like, what do you do? So we spent a year in 2015 searching different options. And during that course of that year, a friend of ours suggested that we go and meet a friend of theirs in Melbourne. Melbourne's about a 10-hour drive from Adelaide.
Okay.
So we took the referral pretty seriously. So we rang these guys up, and they were willing to have a coffee with us. So Don and I jumped in the car and drove to Melbourne. And when we met this particular couple, they're in their late 50s, and it's the first time we'd ever met people that had different results in life. I won't go into that too much, but they had results in life that I'd never seen before. And we found ourselves driving back to Adelaide after having coffee with them, just not forgetting the fact that we met people that lived different lives. And we sort of drew the conclusion that our life would have to be better if they were in it. So we, I guess, pestered them a fair bit. We kept on driving from Adelaide to Melbourne and wore them down, I guess, through our perseverance. And we earned the right for them to, I guess, mentor us in life. And the outcome of that was they taught us to change the way that we think, and they taught us, how to get clarity about what we want to achieve and do with our life. So the follow-on from that was that we learned that the only way we're going to do something significant is we're going to have to get better at communicating with people. So once that thought got in our head, we want to get better at communicating with people, we thought about that for a very long time, and then eventually we saw an Instagram post of a guy who in Vancouver, somewhere in Seattle in the US, who had made a New Year's resolution of meeting someone new every day for a year. And when we looked at that post, we just thought, man, what's such a good idea. What a great way to overcome and learn how to communicate with people. So we pondered on that idea for a while. And eventually on November the 27th, 2019, we decided together that we would, for a year, we would every day meet someone new. And that was a journey in itself. So yeah, that's how it all started, Russ.
And that was amazing. And you've inspired me because the last 2 years, and I'm going to do it again this year, my goal has been to connect with at least 1,000 new people. And so I did it the last 2 years because really that's only 3 people a day. And that doesn't mean doing it to the level that you did it. I'm not videotaping them and doing interviews, but I'm actually connecting and getting to doing a connection and going beyond just an email or a message, actually talking to people and getting to know them. But I put a lot of effort into that because you guys inspired me.
Oh, cool. I'm glad we could do that for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
And I love this that you decided to focus on clarity and communication.
Yep.
And it in this busy world, in all of the channels, and there's so many messages that we get, so many different things. Clarity is really hard. There's lots of there's lots of noise, lots of words. I don't know if there's a lot of communication and clarity. As you've been going through this, what's been your experience with the people that you've been connecting with?
Yeah, we've had it's been a great learning experience for us because we just started with a simple goal of let's meet someone new every day. So the hardest thing there wasn't actually, it was the learning how to interrupt people in their daily lives so that you could see if they were interested in starting a conversation. And that was the skill that we had to learn, and we had to learn very quickly not to take personally any rejection at all, like people that may not wanted to start a conversation with us.
Mm-hmm.
And we not only had to not take the rejection personally, we also had to learn not to judge the people that were rejecting us.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy to judge people that were rejecting you, but when you think deeply about it, it's like, we don't know what's going on in their life. We don't know what happened to them today. So, the fact that when I reached out to them and said hello, that they didn't respond, well, okay, that's okay.
And I'll just add too, like on a sort of different personal level, we both had different things to overcome because, like I said before, we have very different personalities, and Stephen was not the sort of person that would initiate a conversation normally in public, whereas I would talk anyone's ear off. So the problem we had was he didn't want to talk to anybody. I talked too much. So I kind of talked at people, and I was just like, I want to tell people all about me. But then through the course of having those conversations and reading lots of books, and I'll just add that that's only one of 5 bookshelves that we have in our home, and they're all full.
I had a feeling that those weren't just for decoration.
Yeah, but what we discovered was that, or for myself, I had to learn, I have one mouth and 2 ears. So should I try and listen more and speak less? And instead of speaking about me, how about I ask people questions about themselves? Because that actually gives a deeper connection. But not only ask questions, but listen to the answers. Actually listen, because I guess there's a lot of stages of going through that, because you usually start with, I'm going to ask people questions, and you ask, and as they're answering, you're thinking about, what am I going to say next? So there was, a lot of learning to do in that, and then like with Stephen, he one of the things he used to worry about was, but what am I going to say to people? Like I'm not interesting. But one of the things that he learned was, I don't need to be interesting. I need to be interested.
Perfect.
So that was yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because one of the questions I want to ask and is kind of get your experience about how guarded people are, right? Because when you reach out and you say, "Oh, hey Donna, nice to meet you, and I'd love to connect," and so many people say, "Yeah, so you can try to sell me something," right?
Yep.
And so, what's been your experience relative to that?
Yeah, we saw it as just to keep it easy, and what we mean by that was that, you know, we would just reach out to people either in public or through some form of social media. And if they responded, great. If they didn't respond, great. So we it was easy because we only spoke to the people that wanted to talk to us.
Sorry, can I just also add, when we were out meeting people in public at the beginning before COVID forced us to go online, what we sort of got into doing, because we did realise that some people thought, you know, why are these guys talking to us? What do they want from us? So we would say, oh, hi, hey, we're Stephen and Donna, how are you going? And they'd sort of look and we'd say, look, before you think we're weirdos, we just been on a journey of meeting somebody new every day for a year. And would you like to be somebody that we meet? And then they'd go, oh, all right, actually, that's really cool. Okay. Very rarely did we have someone that didn't want to. I don't know if that ever really happened much, but
No, that was a good point, because our learning now is, so back then when we had a mission, if we shared, we I guess dressed the elephant in the room that it might be weird speaking to someone you don't know by telling them that we had a purpose to do that. And so we learnt from that. And now when we don't specifically have a mission, the way that we engage in conversation is to address that elephant in the room and use that as a way to engage the conversation by, you know, hey, look, you know, I know this might be weird, a stranger speaking to you in complete public, but I just wanted to, and whatever we go on and say. But it's been an incredible learning journey for us, and it's now a habit that we've developed. So, and we want to maintain that habit of just being in that mode of just reaching out to people, because, you know, because when you reach out to people, we see it as you're recognizing someone's presence, so therefore you're valuing that person. So reaching out and wanting to have a conversation with someone is seeing value in that person. That's
Yeah, and we had many people say to us afterwards, after we had the conversation, thank you for stopping and talking to me. You really made my day. And that really helped us too, because sometimes when you're doing something like that is a bit weird and out of the box, you go, are we really adding value? Like, you know, are we really helping people or doing something good for people? So it's nice that we got that feedback that people really appreciated someone stopping and wanting to know about them. And we were really quite flabbergasted to find sometimes Stephen would connect with a person on some social media that maybe reacted to a post or something, said, oh, hey, you know, would you introduce ourselves? Would you like to catch up? And they say, oh, I've been waiting for you guys to message me. And we'd be like, what? But we're not anybody, like we're just us. And yeah, it was just seemed really crazy to us that would have that kind of a consequence, I guess. Yeah.
Well, during that year, I got to say that you two, when you first started online, you were kind of famous. I mean, I had all kinds of people that said, you know, that said to me, I want to talk to Stephen and Donna. And, you know, I think it's interesting what you bring up. Since you're big book readers, I have a sneaking hunch that you've read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, because that's what you just quoted a minute ago. And that is, if you want people to be interested in you, be interested in them, right? If you want to be interesting, be interested in what people have to say. And I think a lot of times you find out you're a lot more interesting than you think when you just, I learned, Donna, you and I can relate to this, when you just shut up and listen to other people, right? And you let them talk. I'll have a conversation with somebody and barely talk. I know that's shocking. Barely talk. And after the conversation, I have a friend come to me and said, hey, I understand you met Scott the other day. He said, you two had an amazing conversation. He said, you were great. And I'm thinking to myself, and I didn't really say anything. I just listened to them. But people's favorite subject is themselves. And so they think it's a great conversation if it's about them. I mean, that's how we all are.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, is quite fascinating because, you know, it's literally a manual on how to deal with people. And I had I was 50 years of age and had a complete stranger recommend it to me. I was enthusiastic when I started reading it, but also angry because it's like, how can someone who's socially awkward be 50 years of age before he gets told about a book from a complete stranger that's a manual on how to deal with people? It's like, yeah.
Well, what's interesting about that book, Stephen, that I found interesting? I have a workshop coming up called How to Turn Cold Calling into Making Friends. And I use a lot of quotes from that book because I love the story in his book where he talks about the person, he was a salesperson that went into this business and actually got to know this guy and helped this big executive solve a problem in his life that he had nothing to do with. It had nothing to do with his product, had nothing to do with the reason he walked in, but he found out about the situation and he started helping this person. They became friends. He helped him solve the situation. And as he was walking out the door, the executive of this company said to him, "Hey, by the way, I know you sell widgets, whatever they were, and my office is going to be sending orders in next week." And the guy never talked about his product. He never tried to sell the guy, but he won a friend. He won a friend. He helped the friend. And that's what won the whole thing over. And I think that's what you guys are doing on the personal level, because it's just about meeting people and getting to know them. So before we run out of time, I want to know, after that first year, you kept on doing, I know you went beyond that. You changed it a little bit. You went beyond that a little bit. So where did you go from there and what are you doing today?
Okay. Yeah. So after meeting someone new every day for a year, we continued on with it, but we never went to that same thought process of someone every day. We continually intentionally wanted to connect with people. And so at the end of 3 years, we ended up having 1,450 different conversations with people. So they were all conversations that would have went for at least a half an hour. So, it's 40,000 minutes of conversations that we had in total. So that ended just over a year ago now. And from that, it's just a habit of continually connecting with people because, if the people that you meet tend to open doors for you and you have the ability to open doors for people that you meet. So, it's every person is someone that you can add value to, or they could add value to you. So it's just an ongoing thing that we want to, keep implementing in our life. And a couple of years ago, which again changed a bit of direction of our life, we heard a video of a guy called Ben Neptune, I think he's
Something
Neptune.
like that, yeah.
Anyway, and he just did a short video just about what changed his life and what changed his life as a 20-year-old, with him and his mates writing a list of 100 things that they wanted to do before they die. And they made a list at the age of 20 of 100 things. And I don't know how much longer later, it was 10 or 15 years later, he was doing a talk talking about how it was so impactful on their life to write down a list of things. And the fact that they'd ticked off 98 of the 100 things that they wrote down as 20-year-olds, all of which, when they wrote them down, they laughed at each other because they just thought it was impossible. So, that really inspired us to go, we need to do this. We keep hearing about developing clarity in your life. So we were away at the time when we were listening to this particular video. So we went back to the room we were staying at. It was 11 o'clock at night. And we just sat down at this table in the room and we said, we're not moving until we've written a list of 100 things that we want to be, do, have, or give in our life. And it took us 4 hours because we knew if we moved from the table, we wouldn't get back to it. So we had to sit there until we wrote a list of 100 things separately that we wanted to be, do, give, or have in our life before we die. What's important to us. So that's changed the whole thought pattern directory of where we go, because now it's about how can we achieve the things that we see that are important to us.
And I think that people have to remember too that if you put a list of 100 things down and you do them like before you're 40. Doesn't mean you're done. Doesn't mean you need to expire at that moment.
Yeah.
That's so true. And that what Stephen was just talking about is something that we really enjoy sharing with people a lot. So we still do connect with people and meet new people. And a lot of the things that we talk about is, you know, what do you want out of life? What's your most crazy dream? Because I think something that we maybe have realised from talking to so many people is that a lot of people are so caught up in the now of their lives that they've forgotten that once upon a time they had dreams and goals and visions. And if we can sort of like help to reignite that spark for people, I feel like that's just a really worthwhile cause, I guess, if you like, or something like that. So, and I think people sort of really appreciate bringing that back to life in their lives
Yeah, you know, it's all about significance, because to me, to be successful, it's doing something significant in the lives of others, and that's what the two of you have done. And it's interesting because another book I'll bet you've read, even though I don't think you've quoted directly from this book, but you've developed such a great habit between the two of you for being more intentional and connecting with people and, you know, going beyond where you were at. The book Atomic Habits by James Clear, great book. I knew you would have read it. And it is, by doing that, you're changing not only your lives, but other lives.
Yeah.
And so I just think that's amazing. And you know what? We could talk on this subject forever, but I got to tell you, it's time to wrap the show up. And I need to let the two of you give us your gold nuggets on our conversation today. What you want people to remember from today, and then tell everybody, how do they get in touch with Stephen and Donna? Because if I'm watching and I haven't got in touch with you today, I want to do it because all those thousands of people that already have, and I've missed out. So I need to know how to do that. So go ahead.
Yeah. Did you want to start?
Thanks. I guess something that's just been on my mind in all the things that we've talked about during this podcast is one of the biggest learnings that we had, and Stephen mentioned about when we first met people, we had to remember, we learned to not judge people that didn't want to talk to us for whatever reason. And then so here's a quote for you, Russ, to see if you can pick the book. But the thing we needed to think about was we needed to seek first to understand. So that's something and that's out of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, because number 5, is it? Okay. Yeah. So that I think that was one thing that really stuck with me, because it's so easy to judge anybody on anything they do on any given moment. But why did they do that thing? You know, and it's the same for myself. Why do I do the things I do? Because sometimes I do things that I wouldn't do if I wasn't angry and didn't, you know, that kind of thing, if I wasn't annoyed at something right then. So, yeah, I think that was just a really big thing for me that I try and remember every single day.
Yeah, I guess there's so much, but by far one of the biggest things we learned just from the actual speaking to people, like there's lots we've learned from things they recommended and books they suggested we read, and there's just other things outside of that. But from just speaking to people, the thing that became very clear to us was that every single one of us have the ability to achieve great things. But those, I guess, that ability inside of us only tends to come out when you're challenged. So, you know, for example, going back and forth to work every day as an engineer was never going to bring out the seeds of greatness, because it wasn't challenging. And it's because there's so many people that we met that have overcome challenges beyond that we could ever imagine that we could overcome, and they've overcome them and they've gone on and succeeded. And when you see that, it makes you realize that, hey, they were just normal average people. They had a massive challenge occur in their life. Some people may not overcome it, but these particular individuals did. which means it's possible for all of us, but it only tends that greatness or that ability to do great things only tends to come out, when we're challenged or when we're in our comfort zone, when we persevere long enough to give it a chance to come out.
Yeah. And how to connect with us.
Oh, and how to connect with us. So LinkedIn, Stephen Fry, or Instagram, Stephen and Donna Fry, with underscores between the words.
Yes.
Yes. And that magically, the LinkedIn part magically appeared below you while we were talking there. So all of it's going to be, and by the way, everybody watching, it's been ticking along the bottom too, but everybody can go straight to the show notes or the comments today for the show. It is all there for you to click and go directly to Stephen and Donna. So I appreciate everybody doing that. And listen, we appreciate you so much. And, I've told you both from the first time we met, I'm a lifetime connector. So you were stuck with me as your friend a few years ago. I mean, I'm not going away. And you two are so amazing. I just appreciate you both so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Russ.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Russ. We appreciate you too. And yeah, we'll see who gets there first. We'll get there or you get here, but we'll definitely get it that day.
And
we're going to do it.
And you yourself, Russ, are a good example, a great example of overcoming, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And, it's going to be a race because you're high on my bucket list to get out there. So, so listen, until then, thank you. We're going to send you to the green room. Hang tight for just a minute. We'll talk to you right after the show as we wrap up.
You guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow.
What fun.
I'm telling you, they have become, I mean, that I don't say this lightly. They have become the most amazing friends. And I feel like they live next door to me. And they're just like friends for years and years because they're just so down to earth people. And I love how through intentionality and through just overcoming where they felt like their shortcomings in things, they were able to push through and just develop this clarity and communication with others. It makes such a difference, right?
And balance each other out, right? The person was a little bit more shy about connecting with people, and Donna being able to bring him along and just be able to balance each other out, and that's important. That's one of the reasons why, Russ, I love doing this show with you. We balance each other out.
Yeah, it is a big thing, especially I think in marriages. There's a lot of that where you're really different in certain areas, but you help complement each other. My beautiful wife is very shy, and she just as soon faded to the background. And I'm out there. Ta-da! Donna and I are out there leading the cheers.
Not in the background.
That's right. I am not in the background. In fact, I have on my calendar every day, everyone, a reminder to myself, a quote that I saw that I loved: "Never pass up a good opportunity to shut up." There you go. I need that every day of my life. Every day of my life. Yeah. So anyway, well, listen, Scott, it's been so great. Since we've gone over time, I think we're just going to wrap things up here for today. But you know what, everybody, we're here at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every week for your listening and viewing pleasure. Please join us on YouTube and become part of our YouTube community. We would love for you to do that. It's so simple. It's easy to do that. So just go to the experience.video. There you go. That'll take you right to our page. And also clicking along the bottom and in all the show notes and everything in the comments, you will see all the connection links for Stephen and Donna. If you don't know them, you are missing out. So you need to connect with them today. So Scott, until next time, my friend, been amazing. And we will see you soon, everybody. Enjoy your day, enjoy your life, and enjoy
the experience.
Woohoo!
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.